Modifications for reverse dog, twister, and pins and needles. Let's start off with reverse dog. The first thing to know is that this is a very, very intense pose, so you need to take it very slowly. Place your hands down like a child crawling on your hands and knees. Twist your hands to the outside, so your middle fingers point back towards your knees. And then for many of you, right here will already be enough. This will be a very, very big stretch. But if you feel comfortable, you can start to lean backwards, lean backwards, lean backwards. You can start to lean backwards, lean backwards, lean backwards. And eventually you can lift your legs up off the ground. But what I'd like you to do is simply find a place where you feel an intense stretch. And by intense, I mean 7 out of 10 intensity. And then just stay there, drop your head, and breathe. Don't be in a rush with this one. This range is very new for most people, and it can be very intense on your wrists at first. Find a place where you feel a big stretch. That might be just on your hands and knees with your hands reversed, and stay right there. Next pose we'll take a look at is twister pose on our back. Remember, in twister pose, what we're attempting to do is double cross our legs, but for many of us, that just doesn't work. It might be because your legs are larger. It might be because you're lacking some ankle mobility. Don't worry about it. Let's figure out a way to practice. Put your left leg over your right leg, top leg over, whichever side you're doing. And then from here, let's imagine I can't double cross and I can't even get my legs together. I would put my foot on top. And then from here, I'd push my knees down to the side, extend my arm out. Remember, both arms are straight. This is really crucial. Now, as time goes on, you can push your legs closer and closer and closer. As time goes on, you can work for that double wrap with the foot, but don't be in a hurry. This is a great pose in the short term. Last pose we'll take a look at is pins and needles. I'll warn you in advance, this is a very intense pose on your feet. Feet are together, toes are tucked, and I sit back on my heels. Now, if you haven't felt your feet in a while, you will feel them very, very quickly here. This gets really intense. For most people, a 2-minute hold is more than enough. You might try practicing this on a softer surface like your bed at first. Sitting back on your heels like this, you'll feel a huge stretch throughout your whole foot. The second part of this is equally challenging. That's to take your hands behind your back in a reverse prayer position. If you're unable to get your hands into a prayer position, the key thing is to work in that direction. What that might look like in the short term is reaching back and touching the tips of your fingers together. What that might look in the short term is touching your fingers a little bit more together. What that might look like in the short term is grabbing your wrists or reaching back and grabbing your elbows behind your back. What that might look like is sort of sloppily getting your hands together, and then eventually you'll work your hands up, and up. This pose gets intense pretty quickly, so I'd encourage you to find a place to stretch and get into it. You'll notice I'm leaning back. That helps me to open up my shoulders even more. The place where you'll be really challenged is trying to figure out those hands. Just do something. Touch your fingers, grab your wrists, grab your elbows, and you'll start to open up your chest with that shoulder blade retraction. That's pins and needles, and I hope those modifications are helpful.